Well, hello, hello. This is Frantz Kantor, cartoonist, illustrator, spy watcher. Today I'm here with Jim Bridges, the president of the Australian Cartoon Museum. There, I snapped in there before you.
Did you say you're a caricaturist? Did you forget that again?
I do caricatures. I like caricatures.
Yeah. And what are we doing today?
Well, we're doing actually...
A caricature?
We're doing a caricature.
And who's this?
Surprise. This is going to be... That's right. It's going to be Gandalf. No, it's not. It's going to be Sean Connery. There's Sir Sean. And,
has he permanently got an eyebrow like that? Is that
he
permanent?
Has, yeah. Yeah.
You like that, don't you?
Well, just before Spock, he had that sort of...
before Spock.
That sort of look. This is his iconic movie poster shot. Where you kind of see his very
Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Very strong, clear features. So we're going to have a look at that. This is him in more recent times. Kind of his approach. I think he's born in 1930. That make him 90 years old, 90 years young. So hopefully he'll be around for much longer. This is sort of the return to Bond time, which was. What was that film? That was...
Diamonds Are Forever?
Diamonds Are Forever?
No, it was Never Say Never.
Never Say Never.
Yeah, because he didn't make a film for about 11 years as Bond.
Yeah, so this is in that period, in the late 60s. This, of course, is The Hunt for Red October. We're sporting this sort of buzz cut. Or actually could be from... Yeah, Hunt for Red October. Yeah. But he was wearing a beard for a few films.
Quite a few films, yeah.
Yeah. And this is with
the real James Bond. Please stand up.
Simon Templar, Roger Moore, Sir Roger Moore. So they were great friends, great pals. This is
that's
him,
from Dr. No.
Yep. So his features are very a lot of muscles on his face. You can see there's enormous. He's just very muscly. His whole demeanor is full of muscles and what was I going to say? It's just very open expression. So nothing sort of devious or there's kind of like a cheekiness about him. There's sort of looking at, this one eyebrow up, which means that he's a sort of a superior note, aka Mr. Spock. So it's kind of denotes that sort of like I know more than you think I know type of thing. So there's a lot of mischievous activity in there, and it's really supported by the lines around this eye. So we're going to play with that a little bit. This is the photograph that I think we're going to use. I've done a little thumbnail trying to work out some shapes here. He's a very muscular, so he's got these deep lines around his mouth. His mouth is usually open, so he talks quite a lot. He's very, very used to speaking, and he's very much he's very articulate, and he's also very he's a people watcher, so he observes people a lot. So he's no surprise that he's quite a accomplished actor. So that's the upshot of everything. This shape is like a very strange sort of shape. We're trying to. He's got a big head, so he's got a big brain, a lot of forehead, kind of like brains from Thunderbirds, a little bit.
Okay, Tracy, so I'll get right on it.
It would be. That's from Dick Tracy, isn't it? Surely.
No.
Okay, Tracy, I'll get right on it. From the cartoon. So it's kind of like I would. How would you describe a shape like that? I'd call that a steak or a chop.
I'd call it
pork chop.
I'd call it a speech balloon.
Well, yeah, or a quote.
Or an upside down,
A quote,
question, a
like
quotation, that's right.
maybe. But it's a bit blocky, a bit square.
Yeah.
So, maybe a chop.
Yeah, I can see a chop.
Nice juicy steak.
Do your T-zone and then get stuck into your chop.
Well, I'm having the T-bone. So in the caricature
T-bone.
arena, in the arena of caricatures,
Good joke.
all of the
I'll pay that.
all of the caricaturists get together and duke it out. The idea is to focus your attention on the eyes, the nose, and the mouth, right? That's the prime area of recognition in any face. There are other elements around, that you can sort of pick, like hairdos or whatever, beard styles. But basically, your main area of recognition is the face. We're expert readers of the face. We can read expressions and micro-expressions. We can tell if someone's angry or happy, and if they're mocking us. We're very good at that.
And where is the light coming from in this?
The light would be coming from the top left.
And also front.
Well, it
looks like a flash, let's say a flash from a camera.
Yeah, it's probably a flash from a camera, but there is a distinct shading around the bottom right.
Well, there's a light source just to his, in the photo, there's a light source just to his...
well, that's behind him. There's a lamp behind him in the photograph, so you'll get a bit of a rim light that we'll be looking for, producing. And what else is there to talk about? Maybe just there's a tendency for caricature. He has a very even face. He has not an even face, well proportioned. So the proportions are they're very strong. The features, they're very bold features, big eyebrows, big chin, big cheeks, big dimples, etc. But they're all sort of like in a proportion. So that's what we have to play with in order to pull the proportions out a little bit so that we can get something to have fun with and enjoy the shapes. So there's a little bit of twisting that I'm going to try to employ. In other words, a feeling of the head turning to our left. Well, I don't know if we can do this quickly, but basically, this is what I'm going to do. So, if you could try to imagine the face, let's put some eyes in the face. Put a nose on the face. There we go. Let's put a mouth. Gee, I wish I had be nice to have a knife, but it doesn't matter. So, if you imagine that this is the face, and what we're going to try to do is turn the face this way and have bits of it do that, right? So we're twisting to the left and to the right simultaneously. So it's going to be a bit dodgy. We've got that sort of looking for that sort of ability in the features. Okay, so because his features are very even, I want to have some fun with them, and I think that would be good. A little bit, not too much. So I've done some sketches, and I've taken a liberty to work out from the thumbnails a rough pencil on Sean. So let's get started. Let's get into the caricature. Thank you. I just want to prop this up because of the angle of the lights and everything. It's a bit hard to pick it out, all of these little details. So let's just take our time. We're going to take our time, and we're going to try to. While I'm doing this, while I'm taking my time, do you want to tell us a little bit about Sean Connery? What does he mean to you?
Well, why do you like him?
Well, I obviously like him from Dr. No. It's an iconic Bond film. It's the first Bond film, and it's really set the tone that all the other Bond films have to match. They have to reach at least that level. They've never really achieve that because it is like it's too strong. It's too
Yeah, I thought
high
Dr.
a
No
mark.
was the best of all the bad guys, personally.
Yeah,
And he was a really good actor, and he had this creepy
demeanor. You know,
Demeanour.
very
that sort of went back into the history of bad guys in Hollywood, sort of, you know.
I thought, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know who you're
Well, there was
referring to, but
like
I
a
think
Fu
he's
Manchu.
very-
There was like a
Yeah.
Fu Manchu feeling there, you know.
Yeah, it's a quiet menace.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're talking about the
And plus
Boris Karloff.
Plus, he
mentioned.
had the hands which were burnt in chemicals and stuff, so they were, you know.
You had
Like
a
the
bit of
Iron
a,
Claw. I remember as a kid, the Iron Claw used to scare the bejesus out of everybody.
what's that?
Oh, it was a cereal called the Iron Claw. This bloke would just grab you by the throat and that's it, you're dead. Because he had an iron hand.
What do you mean a cereal, like a Republic cereal on the cinema? Or?
Yeah, at the pictures, the Iron Claw.
All right, we never had that.
And of course, when you were little kids playing, if you played the Iron Claw, it's like you get to play Superman. You always won, you know.
Right.
So you'd have fights about who was going to play the Iron Claw, and you'd end up playing Cowboys and Indians instead, you know, because everybody wanted to be the Iron Claw. You
Right.
couldn't have two Iron Claws.
The son of the Iron Claw. They had an Iron Claw had the claw in Get Smart, and they mispronounced it.
Oh.
It was because he had a impediment, which is
What's
they
the
did a lot
aluminium?
of-
The aluminium claw.
um,
Yeah, well, go on. Dr. No. So
yeah,
that
he,
was 61, was it? 61?
63,
62.
62.
So
They
how
just
old were
split
you?
it. I didn't see it in the cinema.
Oh, okay, yeah. You didn't see it in the womb either, did you?
No, the only James Bond I saw in the cinema was Live and Let Die, which was way after
Yeah.
he left the series. So that was
Well, the
obviously
first time
Saint.
I ever saw him was in a film called Darby O'Gill and the Little People,
Yeah,
which was a Disney film.
yeah, I would have seen that
And,
probably when I was a kid on the Wonderful World of Disney.
well, I don't think it was on television.
You don't think so?
No, I had bits of it.
Well, how do
I'm
I?
not sure.
I remember the ending with the carriage. You know,
Yeah,
the
the Banshee.
was it the Banshee?
And the Death Coach.
The Death Coach.
Yeah, the Banshee is actually driving it.
Yeah.
And that scared the bejesus out of a hell of a lot of people. A whole generation of people ended up in psych couches because of, like...
Really?
Along with Bambi's mother getting killed, you know.
Oh dear.
Yeah, people of my generation
They were
remember that
adversely
film.
affected by
Yeah.
that film.
And when I tell them that James Bond was in it, they don't know what I'm talking about. They don't even remember him, you know.
Yeah.
Because Sean Connery, I think he was in the army, wasn't he? I think he was in the army, and he also got into bodybuilding, and this is how he got into films, because he got into bodybuilding. Now, has that got anything to do with the
These are
muscles?
angry caterpillars.
Has that got anything to do with the muscles in the face?
What the army?
Bodybuilding?
No. Unless you pick up barbells with your mouth, which I don't think he.
Well,
would have
some
done.
people do that, don't they? Those guys who pull cars along and trains with their teeth. Yeah. Well, his first film. Well, he was born in 1930, according to you, and his first film was 1954. So I was 4 years old, and you weren't even here. It was called Lilies in the Spring, and he wasn't even credited. But Darby O'Gill was 58, and I saw that in 58 when it came out, along with everybody else, because everybody went and saw Disney films as a family.
Did they? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and in those days they were huge. They were huge, like they were big queues to get into Disney films. Sometimes you'd turn up and the queue'd go around the block. You couldn't even get into the theatre and things like that.
Wow, that's okay.
There were
Never
films
knew
like
that.
Perry.
Perry the Squirrel.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah, I
sort
had
of
a little golden book of that.
semi-documentary, but
I
that
know.
was huge.
I know every Disney film, all of the Big
And,
Red and all that by their books. Little
Old
golden
Yeller.
books. I know that bit by the book.
What's sort of the twins film with the Hayley Mills? Parent Trap.
Parent Trap.
That was huge. That was huge. I mean, we...
Well, Hayley Mills was a staple in the Disney...
Well, she played the role twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she played the mother in the later version.
That's right, yeah. Anyway, and of course there were... I mean, Disney made terrible films too. He made a film called Pollyanna and Toby Tyler and films like that. No, terrible. Shocking.
Castaways.
Yeah, I didn't think much of that. I really look forward to...
Maurice Chevalier.
I really look forward to the Swiss Family Robinson.
Yeah.
But...
You didn't like it?
Well, I'd read the book and I couldn't wait to see it. But, I liked the treehouse.
Yeah.
I thought that was fantastic. The best treehouse I've ever seen,
Well, the girl from Darby O'Gill was in Swiss Family Robinson.
Yeah, she was in a lot of those Disney things.
Yeah.
She was also...
She died quite young.
She was also... I forget her name, but she was also in Third Man in the Mountain, which I loved.
Mm.
All the kids I knew loved that film, and we were always trying to find rope to tie around our chest as we walked down the street looking for a mountain to climb. But there were no mountains in Ascot Vale.
No.
Yeah, not even hills.
No.
Yeah, he. That's when I first noticed him in Darby O'Gill and the Little People, and I thought he was all right, but he just played a, straight role, the boyfriend role.
He did sing though, didn't he? I think.
I think they all sang in that.
Yeah, it was a singing. It was one of them singing films.
No, it wasn't a singing film. It's just an Irish film, and they all get pissed and they sing.
Mm.
And then in '59, he did Tarzan's Greatest Adventure.
Did he?
Which no one knows about.
No, I didn't even know about that. Who was Tarzan in there?
I think he was.
Oh, right.
And because he still had the body of a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And then in '61 he did Macbeth, and have a guess who he played?
Don't tell me. Macduff.
Macbeth.
Oh, right.
Yeah. This is '61.
Mm.
And then he did Anna Karenina, which is one of my favourite books by Tolstoy. He played Count Vronsky.
Mm.
And I've never seen him in that. I've tried to track that one down. I've never been able to see it. And then, of course, they made The Longest Day, which was the first big blockbuster movie where they had 100 stars in it. They tried to outdo the MGM guys,
Mm.
which is... The Longest Day is about...
D-Day, isn't it?
D-Day, yeah. Every Man and Their Dog was in it. And, of course, the same year he did Dr. No, 1962.
Mm.
And that was popular. Very popular. So then next year they did From Russia with Love and Goldfinger, which I think is his best film. The best Bond film is Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Personally, what about you?
It's got everything going for it. It's really strong story. Very wonderful villain. One of the best villains. It's got a classic line where he's strapped to a laser to a table. He's about to be dissected with a laser beam.
Yeah.
And
starting from the testicles up.
Yeah, and his line is, I was kind of like the. Do
you want me to talk? Do you want me to talk? And he says, "No, Mr. Bond.
Do you expect me to talk? Don't you expect me to talk?
I expect you to die."
Yeah, this is a great line.
Yeah.
So
and of course, it was dubbed because Gert Frobe, who played Goldfinger, couldn't speak a word of English. He signed on to do an English role without knowing any English.
Mm.
But, these are great backstories to the movies. One of the great things about the internet is that all these stories about what if and all that, all the carry on behind the scenes of films we've loved and known are all coming out. And sometimes it's terrible, like the Wizard of Oz stories. But when you find
the Wizard of Oz stories are terrible. What you mean, the Munchkins?
Oh, we won't go in there, but there's all pedophilia and all sorts of stuff in there.
Oh, dear.
Shocking, Anyway, so 63, he did Goldfinger and From Russia with Love.
Mm.
And I just love the everything about Goldfinger, the credits, Shirley Bassey, the music by John Barry, the painting of the gold, stealing, like how they... he smuggles gold over border he has a car made out of gold, and there's Odd Job and Fort Knox and Shirley Eaton. Shirley Eaton, she was the girl who got painted.
And Pussy Galore.
And Pussy Galore, what was her name?
Honor Blackman.
Honor Blackman, yeah, who was probably in her 40s when she made that.
Mm.
Pussy Galore, and of course. Odd Job and the whole thing. There's an atomic bomb about to go off in Fort Knox.
Yeah.
And they stop it, and it's got 007 and all these sort of gags,
Yeah, so that set the trope for a lot of gags in spy films and stuff.
Oh no, they were already in Doctor No.
Were they?
Yeah.
All the tropes.
Yeah, like she should have kept. Oh no, remember he shoots the. No, that's in Rush With Love. He shoots the guy in the woman's the Anita Egbert big poster on the wall, and the mouth opens up, and he's going to get a gun, and he shoots him, and he says he should have kept his mouth shut, and all those sort of gags. I remember being frightened when I think in Doctor No, a bloke falls in the bath while he's fighting him, and he throws the heater in, and he just.
That scared you?
Yeah, that scared me. That from then on, I
didn't take the heater in the bath.
No, that's right, not me. No, that scared me. But I remember taking a whole bunch of people to see Goldfinger. Oh, I got all my mates to come and see it, and they all hated it, and only I liked it. And I felt like, when you're a kid and no one wants to play Cowboys and Indians anymore, and you still want to play Cowboys and Indians, it's a terrible feeling. It's like it's the end of childhood.
I never had friends, so I didn't.
Oh.
I didn't experience that disappointment. But it sounds very.
You didn't experience that ultimate disappointment.
No, it sounds. Yeah, it sounds. That is an ultimate disappointment, isn't it? They always let you down.
Anyway, the next year, 1964, he makes Marnie with Alfred Hitchcock, which he was all right in it, and I think the usual characters like Cary Grant and Jimmy Stewart and all those sort of people, although he does rape his wife on their wedding night, so I don't think Cary Grant was going to have a bar of that, or Jimmy Stewart. Anyway, that's one of my favourite Hitchcock movies. So I thought he put in a pretty good performance.
I haven't seen it, so I can't comment.
Well, yeah, it's one of those Freudian movies where he has all these symbols.
Yeah. Like, not Spellbound, what was it with...
Yeah, Spellbound.
Is that the one with...
that's with...
Ingrid Bergman?
And Gregory Peck. It's one of his Freudian... Because he was interested in Freudian movies.
Yeah.
And then he made The Hill, which is a black and white tough film about, I think, army life, and they try and break this guy by making him climb the hill. It's a
Stanley Baker's in it.
Yeah, that's right. And Stanley Baker was, I thought he was a bit, I never liked him. I thought he was a sicko, even when he played good guys. He played great sickos, great gangsters. And then Thunderball, which of course that's when the Bond thing went off the rails, I reckon, because 3/4 of Thunderball was shot underwater.
Yeah.
And I just didn't get it. I didn't get it. I remember seeing it, and it's like a lot of modern movies today which are shot dark. I thought a lot of it was, just, you couldn't see much of it, and compared to Goldfinger, anyway, I mean, they've made so many movies since, but I've just got a fond place for Goldfinger. And then he made one of my favourite films called A Fine Madness in '66, which is about, I think he's like an Irish Welsh poet who goes over to America.
Yeah.
And he seduces all the women with his poetry, and
yeah, I've seen that.
He's quite crazy, and I think it's a great role. You sort of got the feeling of it's probably the best film about a poet you've ever come across, And then he did another Bond, You Only Live Twice. And he made a few documentaries. And he actually directed one called The Bowler and the Bunnet, which sounds something to do about Scotland to me. And he was in it himself, but he directed himself. And then he went over to America and made Shalako.
Oh, with Bridget Bardot.
Yeah, which is...
And
it's a cowboy film.
Yeah, also Ward Bond. Not Ward Bond. The guy from Ben-Hur. Him. The guy.
Um,
Masala.
the Boyd.
Boyd, thank you.
Boyd, yeah.
The Boyd.
Yep, the Boyd.
You got the Boyd.
Which I don't have a memory. I've seen that film, but I don't have much of a memory. And
What, Shalako?
Yeah, I don't have much of a memory.
Yeah.
A lot of it was shot for Day for Nights too, if I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what, they're going to get killed by Indians or something?
A lot of that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like a kidnapping of...
Yeah, I didn't think much of Bridget Bardot in that movie.
Mm.
Whereas the best film I think they made with a European woman in a Western was The Professionals, with Claudia Cardinelli and Lee Marvin,
Yeah.
Woody Strode, and what's his name? The guy from Here to Eternity, Burt Lancaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a good film. Very good film. And some people think it's one of the best westerns ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then he made... I've jumped ahead. He made Red Tent. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Yeah, it's about polar exploration.
Yeah.
And he made a film with
North Pole.
called the Molly Maguires, who were blokes who got dressed up as women, and they wrecked things. They were unionists.
Yep.
They were unionists, and they got dressed up as women and to wreck mines and trains and all sorts of stuff to
sabotage.
Yeah, that was a good film. I forget who made that. And then, the Anderson tapes, and then Diamond of Forever, which is 71. And in 72 plays Zardoz, which is a very strange film.
Yeah. Was that Borman?
Yeah, that's Borman. Do you want to talk about it? I mean, it's...
Okay, so Zardoz, spoiler alert, Zardoz is short for Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
So it's basically a dystopian future where... these savages, or these border people that live on the border, and he's one of those savages. They are, I think, used as slaves or something by an aristocracy that live in this dome.
It's a big mixture of the Time Machine and all sorts of stuff. I think that was the first film he didn't.
Barbarella.
I think that was the first film he didn't actually wear a wig. He just had his thinning locks in.
Yeah, but he had a ponytail, so he had a bit of...
No, that's later. He had a ponytail.
No, he had a ponytail in Zardoz.
Oh, did he? Yeah, okay. And then he made Murder of the Orient Express and The Wind and the Line, which I don't have any memory of. I know I saw it. Isn't that about Muslims or something?
No.
It's in Arab? He's an Arab or something?
He's the Rif or something, basically he's a Bedouin, like a desert sheep.
Yes, that's right.
And
Wind and the Line. And
he kidnaps an American, and then Teddy Roosevelt gets involved, and he's played by Brian Keith.
Yeah,
and
Teddy Roosevelt, the Rough Rider.
Yeah, so he's the lion.
Yeah,
I believe. I think he is.
And then the same year he made The Man Who Would Be King with John Huston, which is
Michael Caine.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember who wrote it. It's
Man Who Would Be King.
Yeah, it's that British writer who wrote If.
You mean the Jungle Book?
Yeah, he wrote.
Yeah, Rudyard Kipling.
Yeah, Rudyard Kipling. Yeah, and it's an interesting film because it's sort of a.
Yeah.
It's an interesting film because it's an adventure film, and it's sort of fantasy, and it's sort of because these guys are just characters who are down on their luck, and they end up falling into this tribe, and they all think they're the foretold ones who are going to come forward and help them all. Yeah,
well, he has the story is that they're Masons.
Yes, that's right.
And that's how Rudyard Kipling gets to know them.
Yeah.
And they have an adventure where they want to,
Rudyard Kipling's actually in the film.
He plays...
the bloke playing him, Richard
Plummer.
Plummer, yeah.
Christopher Plummer plays
yeah.
him.
Old Edelweiss.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got it's directed by John Huston, so it's worthwhile seeing. I think it's an interesting film, and of course the repartee between him and what's his name? The other guy in it?
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine's very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And then the next year he made Robin and Marion, which I thought was really good. I think it's the best Robin and Marion film I've ever seen. Robin Hood.
And who was Marion?
What's his name? She was in My Fair Lady. Oh, God. Senior moment.
My Fair Lady.
Yeah. Audrey Hepburn.
Audrey.
Yeah. And they're older. They're older, you see.
Yeah, they're.
And she's been in a nut. She's
dug
been
them out of the old people's.
Yeah, I think he's gone off to fight the Crusades or something, and he comes back. He's an old bloke, and she's an old woman, but they still love each other. I thought it was good. I really liked that film. And then
I haven't seen it.
And then they made that big film, The Bridge Too Far, which is another longer stay sort of film, where there's a lot of people in it. They spent a lot of money on that film trying to get it right. And then, Meteor and Outland. Remember Outland?
Meteor was good. That's with Natalie Wood. That's one of her last films.
It's about a meteor going to crash into the world, yeah?
Yeah, it's an end of the world sort of film. But
and who does he play? Who does he play?
He plays a disgruntled astrophysicist, and he wanted them to. He created this Star Wars satellite that is supposed to be outward looking to protect the Earth from meteors.
Yeah.
Right. Hence the name. But the military turned it down towards Russia, and they faced Russia. So it was like a take on the
Cold War.
Yeah, or more specifically the Star Wars gambit of Ronald Reagan, which never worked. And
it was never going to work.
No. Anyway, so they had.
Do you want to explain that? I mean, do you want to explain the
Cold War gambit?
No, not the
what?
Reagan Star Wars plan.
Well, okay, Reagan had this dream. Apparently, it was this theory running around that he had this dream of Star Wars, which was protecting the American people with a net, a virtual net. Not a real net, but a virtual net of missiles that could shoot down other missiles. So which made
Russian missiles.
Yeah, which made a sort of an effective.
So it's like
deterrent for attacking the US.
If you control space, you control the world.
That was but you're not really. You're only controlling a little bit of space.
Yeah,
and.
It's the space between Russia and America.
Yeah. It's space. No, it's more the space between Ronald Reagan's ears. That he's trying to.
That's space.
Fill. Yeah, because there wasn't anything happening inside his brain.
Some people called it no man's land.
There was no man. There was no land in there. There was nothing.
Anyway, the next year after Meteor, he makes in '81. He makes Outland, which is a very interesting movie. It's a remake of.
It's a film noir in space.
Yes, but it's a remake of that Western, Do Not Forsake Me, Oh My Darling. What's that? It's about he's in charge.
High Noon.
Yeah, it's a remake of High Noon, and the only person there's corruption going on the ship, and they're out in space, and they're about 18 months away from Earth, and he's like the top cop. On the ship, and he finds out all this corruption and stuff happening, and the only person who'll support him is this elderly lady.
Well, she's the coroner.
Yeah, and she's the only one who'll support him. So he's against the whole ship, and it's a.
Well, they will try to kill him.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea because you see, she's not a young chick, and she's not a love interest.
No.
And I felt that was a very interesting. I think that's probably why I did the role, because it was so interesting.
Well, it was a female-male, but it was a buddy flick.
Yeah, it was a buddy flick, but, you know, he didn't have a love interest, which I thought was really interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, and then he did Time Bandits straight after that.
Yeah.
And then after 11 years away from the job, or 12 years away from the job, he went back. He said never say never, because he said he's never going to do another Bond, and he made a film called Never Say Never. I think which he regretted. Anyway, straight after that he did, a couple of years after he did Highlander, and then he did The Name of the Rose, which was a very interesting film.
Not Highlander.
Yeah, he did
Highlander. It's Highlander.
Hier take the hero now, take the lure now, get in Scotland for you, laddie.
That was a big. Step for him. It was a big film, Highlander.
Well, yeah, but he was already a big star, like, you know. And then he played the old monk in The Name of the Rose, which is a very interesting
that's a
story.
Good film.
And
that's a medieval whodunit.
It is, but it's also a philosophy book as well.
Yeah.
And it's about comedy. It's about the importance of comedy.
And in religion.
Yeah, and you have people
the monks used to hide jokes in the illuminated manuscripts.
Yeah.
And that's what that was about.
And someone was killing them, and
because they didn't have a sense of humour.
Yeah,
they thought it was,
and of course,
what's the thing when you get
by this time,
for
whether he's got the main role or not, he steals all the films. Like, then he made 87. He did The Untouchables, and he just stole the film. He was the best thing in the film. He just plays this old cop who works with Elliot Ness. And he played the next year was The Last Crusade. And then there's the film you liked, the 1990, The Hunt for the Red October.
Yeah, that's a...
it's a submarine film, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a pretty good film. It's very, dramatic, and it's a good, like a Cold War type of drama.
Yeah, he's very good in it. That's what I remember, but I don't like those type of movies.
Okay.
But he was good in it. And then he made Russia House, which is about spies.
Yeah.
And then in 91 he did Highlander 2, which was called The Quickening. Now, did you see that?
Yeah.
Now tell me about the Highlanders, as opposed to the High.
Well, Highlanders are immortals that face off every once in a while, and they steal each other's essences.
That sounds a bit messy.
Yeah, well, the idea of it, you have to decapitate them. So he was decapitated, and of course his essence gets passed on to someone else.
Oh, okay. So
the motto of the Highlander is there can be only one. So they battle, but occasionally they form alliances. So
what's the use of being immortal if you get your head chopped off and they steal your essence? What's the use?
Well, that's it.
You can't be immortal.
No.
But your essence is immortal.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he made an interesting film I like very much called The Medicine Man, where he plays a guy in the Amazon jungles who's he's an old rogue, and he's trying to protect certain plants and the natives, and and they have a young girl who comes along who's pretty smart with her science and stuff, and they have the usual
tryst.
Well, they have the usual old versus young minds struggle, and then there's the sexual tension, and then, of course, she has to fall for him. But I love it. He's belting golf balls out into the jungle.
Yeah.
And, it gets a bit messy because a
lot of golf balls.
It brought attention to what was going on in the Amazon as well.
Yeah.
And he was running around with grey hair and a ponytail.
Yeah.
And his Scottish brogue, and he was just great. I think we've missed out some bloody good films somewhere along the line. What happened to
what?
I don't think I wrote it down. There's The Last Crusade. Indiana Jones, he was terrific in that. He stole it.
Yeah.
He stole the film completely. He plays...
Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade.
Yeah, he plays his father. He plays Indy's father.
Yeah.
And it's a very good film, and it's about their relationship. That's a running thing through the whole film, and right at the end it reaches some sort of crossover.
Yeah.
I won't spoil it. Yeah,
You
that
can
was
spoil it,
89.
everyone's seen it.
The Last Crusade. You haven't seen it?
Everyone's seen it.
Yeah.
You can spoil it, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, 89, and he made it before The Hunt for the Red October and Between the Untouchables. So.
Yeah. It was an interesting. It's a very interesting film.
And the last film I saw him in was The League of Entrapment. Sorry, that's two movies.
League
of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good film. He plays Quatermain.
Yeah, Alan Quatermain, who is the character from King Solomon's Mines.
Yeah.
And of course, there's all sorts of people in that. There's Captain Nemo, and there's
Mina Harker.
Yeah, and there's
Invisible Man.
Yeah. It's an
Dorian
interesting.
Gray.
Dorian Gray's in it.
Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, Mr. Hyde.
It's based on an Alan Moore comic.
Yeah.
And
let's put them all together in an omnibus.
Well, kind of.
And it was also one of the first steampunk movies, wasn't it?
Yeah. I wasn't aware that it was classified as steampunk, but yeah, you could say it was. He employed that. Certainly in the film, there was a lot of.
Well, it's 2003, and of course, as you said, he's in his 90s.
Yeah.
He's in his 90s, so. Yeah, he's in his 90s this year, anyway.
Yeah, well, he's 90 this year.
And he does a lot of stuff for Scotland. I think he set up all sorts of scholarships and situations to help people out in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he runs institutes, doesn't he? The Connery Institutes.
I'm sure, yeah.
But he was huge. Like, he just became he in a way he was sort of bigger than. It's sort of strange to say this, but he's sort of like bigger than John Wayne, because John Wayne was noted for his westerns. Although he made war films and he made police films and all sorts of stuff, he's known for the cowboy persona. Whereas I think Sean Connery didn't want to be typecast, so that he tried all these different things. He played bad guys, and
Yeah.
But
he'll always be remembered at this role that I'm drawing him in now.
Oh yeah, as Bond,
because he kind of made it impossible for anyone else to step into these shoes. It's too big, and even talent like Roger Moore couldn't do it. So Roger Moore basically
was playing the Saint. Who had already played.
Yeah. Which was fine, but it's not.
Well, you see,
shaking
Bond was the beginning of the anti-heroes to a certain extent, wasn't it? Like, he'd kill people.
He killed people, yeah.
And the good guys only kill people for a reason, or
accidentally. If they would, like, they'd outdraw them in high noon. They'd outdraw them.
Yeah.
But
and if they had a black hat, well, they had to die anyway. But he's proven himself over the years. He's a physical, manly man. And women like that, and they like his brogue, and the whole world likes his raised eyebrow, including you. Mind you, if he shook your hand, you'd probably expect him to break it.
Yeah.
I remember when he was in Japan. Is that where Diamonds Are Forever was shot, in Japan?
No, it's where You Only Live Twice.
You Only Live Twice, in '67. And he was the Japanese went absolutely bonkers over him, and he couldn't do anything. He was like held up like the Beatles were. They just couldn't leave their hotel. It just people just do crazy things.
Yeah, so it was a big deal, James Bond, and
the Japanese loved him. They called him Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, he was the main. I mean, after the war, after this, the the anti-hero came out of the Second World War, but it wasn't until the early 60s when it really took off. And of course, Bond films, I mean, everybody was making a spy film.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody, I mean, you know, Morecambe and
Dean
Wise,
Martin.
Dean Martin, James Coburn.
Yeah.
I mean, there were serious things like The Spy Came in the Cold with Burton, based on the Le Carre novels. And there was, what's his name? You mentioned him before. Was it The Ipcrest File?
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine, yeah. Everybody was playing a spy.
Yeah.
And of course, they made that incredible film, which is totally forgettable, which is Casino Royale, which is based on an Ian Fleming novel, but it had everybody in it playing
spoofs,
playing James Bond.
Yeah,
they're always
David Niven.
Yeah, David Niven, Woody Allen, Orson Welles, all sorts of people in that. It was just Watch New Pussycat, all these crazy films from the 60s. You know, I remember my mate Camillo Caminiti loved the Silencer movies, the Matt Helm, you know, with Dean Martin.
Yeah.
And I liked the Our Man Flint things.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But they just made like it seems like I got really boring. It seemed like 10 years all you got was spies.
You did.
That's all you got.
And if you watch TV, you got Get Smart, Spies, Man from U.N.C.L.E. Spies, and even Western Spies with Robert Conrad. Wild Wild West.
That's right. He played a Pinkerton man, didn't he? The Pinkerton is like the early detective agencies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Secret Service for the president.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they were attached to the Internal Revenue Department, so they were really up to.
I hate to interfere with you.
You're going to rush me.
But no, isn't that supposed to be circular? It's the end of the barrel.
Yeah, but I don't want to keep drawing up bloody rifling, so I've simplified it.
Oh, but it looks like a...
Oh, all right then.
Looks partly orangey, you know. Doesn't it have to be completely circle because it's a rifle?
Happy?
I'm happy now, yeah. Do we have to explain what rifling is?
No, let him guess. Rifling is the marks that are inside the barrel of a gun.
That makes the bullet spin.
Spin, yeah. So it's a little trick to make the bullet have more penetration and distance.
Yeah. And it's in the beginning of every Bond film.
Yeah.
But you don't have a red pencil, so we can't do the blood coming down.
No, I don't have that. So this is really, it's got beautiful.
Well, I mean,
there's
how
a lot of
many
texture in
films
his
have they
face.
made now?
My
About
God,
26 films?
A lot of texture, a lot of shine and things.
How many Bond films have they made?
I hate to think. I don't know. There's just a lot.
Yeah. And of course, the public gets involved because now the public want a woman Bond, they want a black Bond, they want a comedian Bond.
Comedian Bond.
Well, there's all these, there's all these people who actually write into sites online, and they want
with their opinions.
They have competitions about who they reckon they should be the next Bond. You know?
I don't think Daniel Craig has even left the title yet. I think he's still.
And of course, they've changed it over the years because M became a woman. And she was very popular, Judi Dench. And the old guy...
Moneypenny became a black actress?
Yeah, well, she's gone, yeah. But she'd only have about 30 seconds in each film. But, you know...
But interesting, I saw her in, I think, Spectre or something, where she was an active agent. So that was pretty good. I like that.
Oh, I don't know that. Yeah.
or it could be
But years later,
another.
when I look back on these films, because as you get old, you go back and check out these films you love so much. And I must admit that I realised that one of the main reasons I liked the James Bond films was the music. I just thought the music was perfect for the story. Mind you, James Barry, who did the
Original.
well, he didn't. There's cases that some other bloke apparently wrote the main theme. I don't know, but he went on to write a lot of great stuff. Barry did. The Ipcrest File,
Persuaders.
Line in Winter, Persuaders. Out of Africa. Dancing with Wolves. A lot of stuff. But James Bond is just, it's a sort of, when you're a child playing cowboys and Indians and spies, because we played spies too.
Yeah.
You'd be always singing the jingle while you were jumping around and
the dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Right. So the music that whenever there's something, like an introduction of Bond, it would go into that. So there's something
also,
that's iconic
like
about Bond.
When everything was going to start happening, you'd start hearing that music and you just get ready for the action. You know? You just get ready for the action.
Yep. So it was. If you like action and adventure. So yeah, I don't know if Bond was popular with women. I think it just it became popular because it became big. Then they had
I think he was popular. I think
Bond girls.
He was definitely popular with women.
Yeah,
sure, and still is. There's lots of women I know who think he was terrific.
Well, this is I'm drawing the era of the classic Bond look. So the reason is because I want to try to find the the signature elements of his face. It's not black enough. Let me do the eyeballs, do the irises to help them out a little bit. It might be able to get a bit of drama. Looking for some contrasts. Help pick out some of the
He also did a lot of television, especially in the early days. And he's done a lot of voiceover in particular films, documentaries and things.
All right. See, I don't even know. I can't even think of one TV show that he was on. You talking about shows or documentaries?
No, shows. Oh, yeah, different shows. Yeah, early stuff. I mean, you take what you get,
Right.
He was doing stuff in '58. I think he was in Z-Cars and things like that.
All right.
Played little roles.
Mm.
I mean, Dustin Hoffman was in a episode of Wagon Train.
Was he?
Yeah. You've got to start somewhere. Robert Altman used to direct Whirlybirds. Do you remember Whirlybirds?
I remember the main actor from Whirlybirds.
Yeah, because he was in you've drawn him a few times.
World, yeah.
Whirlybirds is an early television program where these two blokes
in a little helicopter.
save people on cliffs and
people.
Rescuing them. Yeah. Well, Robert Altman directed all those before he became, the bloke who did MASH and all those incredible films that he did.
Yeah.
McCabe and Mrs. Miller.
What a beautiful, strong, clean line that he has. I'm trying to capture a little bit of that, but you know, he's a handsome man.
Yeah.
Very handsome man. So beautiful strength in his features. A lot of clarity.
He was also he was married to a very handsome woman too.
Diane Cilento.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A pretty extraordinary actress.
Yep.
With incredible intensity.
Yeah.
Who later on
The Rattle of a
Simple Man. Yeah, with
Steptoe. What's his name? Thingy me body.
not the old bloke, but the son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Cribbins.
No, not Bernard.
Him.
Are you having a senior moment? But I'm older than you. You're not supposed to have them.
I've only ever seen it once when I was a kid.
Yeah. It's
Like
a very
at
good
4
film.
o'clock in the morning.
Very good film.
Yeah.
She went on to
You know, one of those films you get. It's a film that's mainly got two actors.
Yeah.
It's like Sleuth, you
a
know.
two-hander.
And all of a sudden you're stuck and you can't move from your seat because of the intensity of the acting.
Yeah.
This is what she was like, Diane.
Well, she ended up running a theatre company in tropical Queensland. I think it was called Karnak.
Right.
And people go up there and do plays.
Uh-huh.
She's a bit of a wild woman.
Right. This is going to be interesting. We're going to be here for a while because I've got a bit of cutting in to do.
Yeah, I mean, the barrel's
here, so
black, isn't
settle in. I was going to do
Gun barrel.
You know, I was going to say, let's do it white. But you can't do it
no,
white
you
because
got-
it's
you
a
have
gun
to-
barrel.
Well, yeah, but can you do the rifling white?
I'll just leave the white.
Leave the
rifling.
spaces, okay. Yeah. So do you want to talk about the fleshiness of his face, the muscular area of his face?
Well, you can kind of see that. It starts with these deep dimples on
Yeah.
either side of his cheeks. And then you keep looking at it and you realise
Well,
that
are you born with these things, or your life's experience carves them out? Like, you know.
well, both. These are really deep. So he was born with these things, these muscles. Very, very powerful facial muscles. So he's very much used to communicating with his face and talking. The perfect actor, which, you know, that's what you need, right? You need someone who is a good communicator, both physically and, you know, with the dialogue.
I think that's one of the good things about him, the way he moves. You know, in films like The Untouchables and stuff, he's walking around with a shotgun, and you just keep looking at him, not the others, because he just knows how to do it. He just has this, like he owns the ground he stands on. You know.
Well, it's a pretty serious weapon in the age of
Yeah,
gangsters.
but
Like
they also
everyone's
had
walking
Tommy
around
guns,
with Tommy
and
guns.
they had Tommy guns and stuff. But I'm just saying the way he handles.
But he had like
the
a
way he
shotgun.
walks-
So there's no nonsense with a shotgun.
Yeah, the way he walks. I mean, even in the Indiana Jones film. I mean, he's far. I mean, in real life, he was about 8 years older than Indiana Jones, than the actor. I think he was, you know. But he handles things beautifully, you know. Just physically, he handles things, you know.
Like the umbrella in the scene where
Yeah,
he scares the seagulls into a grisly death.
yeah.
Death by propeller.
Death by propeller. Well, he wasn't the only bloke who had a death by propeller, was he? Besides the birds. I always found it unusual that he was in the Hitchcock film,
Yeah.
but it was obviously his first his first American film, because everything else was shot in England. But I think it gets back to the fact that when they read the script, all the actors didn't want to do it because he actually rapes his wife on their wedding night.
Yeah, it's a bit dicey, isn't it?
Yeah.
She has, you want to give a backstory behind that? It's not a...
Well, it's a complicated story, but...
She has a trauma.
She steals things.
Yeah.
And she's a blonde one minute, she's black-haired the next, and she destroys all her previous...
Personas.
Yeah. And he...
falls in love with her.
Well, he knows what she's up to because I think she robs him or she robs one of his clients. And he's interested in animals, animal psychology. And he says something, he says, I've caught a very interesting beast and I'm not going to let you go, meaning she's a
challenge.
A challenge to him, yeah. And of course she's a very, she's in big strife. But he's sort of, because he loves her, he's going to help her out. I think it's a great motive you put there.
Yeah. We're going a little bit over time with this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cutting in. So, all right. It's got lovely caterpillars. I love these.
Lovely caterpillars.
Things.
And one of them's arching its back.
Yeah, one's a hungry caterpillar.
That's probably the biggest selling kids book of all time, you know.
Is it?
Yeah. Apparently it's beating Alice in Wonderland. It's never been out of print.
This is my take on Shaun. Let's have a look at Shaun. This is before Shaun. So let's have a look at where's some of the others. Very intense expressions. That's him now, that's him then. This is iconic Bond. So this is my take on Sean Connery in the classic era of the Bond hero. And this is Frantz Kantor and
Jim Bridges saying we'll see you on the
flip side. Bye bye.